Hello there. I'd like to take a moment and have a little video to kind of welcome you to the Technology Education 8th grade class online and tell you a little bit about the class and what to expect and what technology education is. As you can see from this quote, to get a job in today's economy, simply being able to read, write, and do arithmetic is not nearly enough. And this is pretty much what we do in our society right now. We only test on reading and writing and arithmetic, and we're not really looking at other things that students can learn to do. And while college is a great thing, and I would certainly encourage you to go into college if at all possible, there are certainly other options that you can look at. Not only that, but you can take a tech ed class and still go to college and go into engineering or architect or a number of fields that pay very, very well. And if college is not for you, then you can go on and become a contractor or a painter or an electrician or any number of other occupations that are very, very important in our society. I always think it's kind of humorous to see people complain about paying an electrician or a plumber $50 an hour to come out to their house to do some work, and yet when it comes time to recognize those people, we want to look down on those people. And that's simply not a good idea. The goals for this video are at the end of this slideshow. You'll know about the class, the goals that I have, what I expect you to be able to do, the purpose of the class, and grades and behavior scores. And then we're going to look at some other things also. Again, at any time, if I'm going too fast, you can simply stop the video and take your time and look at different things. Technology education is a study of how the technology we create in our world can impact or change our world. One of the things that you might find kind of unique is that we're going to talk about technology as being both good and bad. Technology's done some very great, fantastic things for us, and it's also caused us a lot of problems. A good example would be the car. We developed the car as a technology that could get us around very quickly, but it didn't take long for us to realize that the car could kill people and injure people. So then we developed the seat belt, and that helped, but it didn't quite do a good enough job. So we developed an airbag. The airbag really helped, except that with small people, it would come out too fast and kill them where the accident would not. So then we had to go back in and readjust the airbag to come out a little bit slower as to not cause such a great impact and injury. So technology is constantly changing. Now, as we go through these videos, you'll probably notice every once in a while I'm going to mess up a word. Well, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not going to go back and start all over again. It would take me forever, because I always mess up a word here or there. So you just have to forgive me and work with me. Now, a lot of people complain about technology education, thinking it's vocational, and that they don't want to go into a vocational area, and I understand that. Some people do and some people do not. This is not a vocational study. They do have vocational studies at the high school, and we'll talk about that at the end of this presentation. But technology education is looking more about how technology affects everybody. Vocational education is training you for a specific job. And if you were to take a vocational education class at the Area 31 at Ben Davis High School, when you get out of that, it's very possible that you could go right into some type of occupation. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the end of the slideshow, and I'll show you some of the things that are offered at the high school. The purpose of this class is to study our world and how it's affected by these four areas: biotechnology and nanotechnology, and these are both very, very new technologies; communication and design, and we'll spend a lot of time on design; construction and manufacturing; and power and transportation. So I've taken the 6 areas of technology and divided them into these 4 areas that we're going to spend some time on and focus on later on in great detail. As we go through this unit and this class, each of these areas we'll talk about. You'll have a video, you'll take some notes, we'll see some activities, and we'll see some resources that are online, and then you'll take a test over this information. What is technology education? Well, in your lifetime, will you ever live in a house or any other type of structure? Will you ever drive a car? Quite possibly a hybrid car, which are really starting to come come around quite a bit right now. Will you ever watch high-definition television? I would be willing to bet most of you already do. I can remember not too far ago in my classroom talking about HD television and explaining what it was, and my students had no idea what it was. And today, that technology is in almost every household, and very, very common. Will you ever be affected by pollution? Can almost guarantee you that you will, but if we really look at some of the data, the pollution in Indianapolis is far lower than it was in the 1930s or around that time. So we really have gotten much better with that. Will you ever pay a gas or an electric bill that's too high? I'd be willing to bet your parents already complain about this right now. Will you get signals from a satellite? Well, you most likely already do in some form or another. Will you ever have a hobby? And hopefully you will, because hobbies are great as you go through life to have different things to do to kind of distract from the daily work and the daily grind. And by hobby, I'm thinking more of things a little bit different than sitting on the couch, watching television, or playing a video game. All of these things would relate to technology education. In this class, some of the things that we expect you to be is to be courteous to everyone. You have to realize, especially with the technology in the world that we have today, that not everybody, when you're typing or emailing or talking to somebody on the computer, they cannot read your body language and your facial expressions. You need to learn to be a little more courteous to everyone else and be careful of what you type or what you say, because it can be taken incorrectly. You should be able to and willing to try new things. Hopefully we'll try some things in this class that you might not have done before. And hopefully we'll be able to give you directions and help in accomplishing these things. You need to be able to work with others. And by this, I mean you should be able to talk to some of the other people that will be taking the class online, helping them with their problems, answering questions they might have, and working together to help each other do a better job. I have to admit, I'm still learning a lot of things on the computer and on the internet, and I find that I usually learn things from the students as much as they learn from me. And the last thing is to be willing to give an effort for success and give it a try, even though it might be frustrating. And I guarantee you, I know as well as anybody how frustrating the computer and the internet can be. Try to work through it, try to get help from other people, try to give help to other people also, and try to achieve what you want to. The grading scale that we use in Wayne Township is this one. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C. There are no D's, and then below 70 would be an F. So basically we've kind of dropped everything down over the last few years, and we've gotten rid of the D's for some reason, and everything else below a C is an F. Now, this can be confusing to some of the older people, some of the younger kids, in that they look at their grade and they have a C and they think, well, I'm setting pretty good. But if you're at 70 or 71%, you're very close to failing, and you need to realize that. I will give plus and minus grades on my assignments. Special grades that you need to be aware of. An A means that you were absent. You were out. The work must be made up or it becomes a 0. And you need to get that done. And you have the same number of days to get that done as you were absent. Now, since we're going to be online, that might not apply. But if something were to come up or if there's a problem, you need to be sure to contact me and let me know what's going on and not just write it off and ignore it. If there are extenuating circumstances and we can address it and help you out, we'll be glad to do that. But if you simply don't do the work and don't tell us what's going on, that could result in a big problem in terms of your grade. E means excused. For some reason, it was not done. You will not need to make it up. And again, since we're going to be going online, this might not happen very often. But again, in case of a severe illness or something where somebody passes away in the family or something big happens, again, you need to let us know. We need to try to work it out. And if it's something that I feel that we can just write off and forget about, we'll excuse it, and you do not need to make that up. NH is probably the worst possible thing you can get. The work is missing. It has not been turned in. Now the good news is it can still be turned in, but it hurts your grade. You need to get this made up very, very quickly. It will be minus 5 points each day that it's late. And until it gets made up, it counts as a 0. A 0 will equal 3 Fs until it's made up. Now, if it's a 0 on a minor project, like a discussion thread, or something that we're only giving 20 to 30 points to, that's not going to be a tremendous impact. But if it's a project that you should have been working on for several days or a week or more, and you haven't got it turned in on time, that's a 100-point project. A 0 is going to equal 3 Fs, and until you get that made up, it's going to really affect your grade. I can assure you that students do not understand how this can affect your grade if it's not turned in. So everything needs to be turned in. NM means not mastered, and that's kind of a unique thing that we do. Let's say that you take a 100-point quiz, for example, and for whatever reason you did not understand the material, you did not do very well, and let's say you got a 4 out of it. Well, getting a 4 out of 100 points is really going to hurt your grade. It's going to be very, very difficult to overcome. So what we do in this situation is we give it an NM. And that means not mastered or not meeting standards, and you still get a 50% grade. So as long as you try, as long as you put in a good effort, and by the way, that's in my opinion whether the effort was good or not yours, then you can get an NM. If you simply don't do it all, then it's an NH, and it's really going to hurt your grade. Now, another thing that's unique to online education, if you're in the process of taking a test, especially one of the early tests, and you make a mistake and you submit it, or for whatever reason you don't do it correctly, that's going to happen. And one of the good things about taking this class as the 8th grade is hopefully you're going to learn how to do this successfully so that when you get to the high school or college and take an online class, you're not going to have that problem and you're going to know what to do. But if something happens like that, you, again, need to contact me as soon as possible. Let me know, and like I said, especially if it's early on and it's one of the first tests or assignments that we did, we're going to make an exception and we're going to give you another chance to accomplish that. Our goal is not to flunk you, but our goal is to help you learn to do more things in different ways. And online education is a pretty unique situation. Effort grades. And again, we rank these in Wayne Township from a 1 being the lowest to a 4 being the highest. And there are teachers out there that simply will take the shortcut and give everybody a 4. I'm not one of those teachers. Again, we're doing this online. To get an excellent, the work has to be on time every time. You contribute to the class. You help others. You have examples of excellent traits and character. You participate daily in the class. And again, online education, you are required to participate a certain number of days a week. So you really have to go above and beyond to get a 4. Most everybody's going to get a 3. You do a pretty good job, you do what's expected, and you try most of the time. I will occasionally give a 2, very rarely, but it does happen that I do give 1s, and that means you're really probably flunking the class. You're not doing the things that you need in order to be successful on an online class. Behavior grades online are going to be a little different. In the classroom, we see how you behave, we see your activities, we see what's going on. Online is going to be a little bit different. How I'm going to grade behavior online is looking for you helping others and sharing your ideas, and again, being an important part of the class. And then we go all the way down to a 1, which is very poor. Your success is unlikely both in this class and unless you change possibly in other areas. So you need to learn how to participate and be involved in everything you do for the rest of your life. I always have students tell me they can't wait to get out of school so they don't have to learn anymore. I have bad news for you. It's never going to stop. Learning is a lifelong process. Once you get out of high school, you go to college, or you get out in the working world, you're constantly learning. You get a job, you start paying bills, you start getting your own home. Again, it's never going to stop, and you might as well understand that now. Some of the questions that I get asked in my regular class: is this an easy class? Well, hopefully this class will challenge you with things that you may have never tried before. And that's our big goal. If you turn in the work and you put out an effort, you're probably going to do pretty well. And again, hopefully we're going to do things that you're interested in or that you find interesting and maybe find something new that you're interested in. I would have to tell you that most of my students in the regular classroom, the only reason they fail is because they're not trying. Now you might take this as meaning, oh, it's an easy class and he gives good grades. No, I have very specific requirements and expectations, but again, if you meet those, the grade's going to be pretty solid. You will need to observe and follow directions and make sure that you do things carefully, especially in online learning where you'll be given some directions and you're going to have to follow those sometimes pretty closely. And again, it can be very frustrating. One step is slightly off and it means you go back and start again. Always have students ask if I'm an easy teacher. Well, no, I expect you to be a student and I expect you to learn new things. If you came to online learning or into the classroom every day and we already did everything or we do things that you already know, you're never going to learn anything. And easy does not get you ready for life. So again, if you try and you put in an effort, I'm sure going to help you. And if you work at it, I will too. Now, if you notice this quote, it's referring to the brain. Yes, I know the brain is not a muscle, but it's a pretty good quote, and I do like it. How we use this class. I always have a lot of students tell me, I'm never going to use this class. I'm going to go play in the NBA or the NFL. I had a little small 7th grader years ago tell me that he didn't need my stupid class. He was going to play in the NFL. I asked him if he was playing in the 7th grade or going to play in the 8th grade or going to play at the high school or go to college, and he said no to all of those. So he's going to jump from a scrawny little 7th grader into the NFL. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's probably not going to happen. So in order to give you an idea of the odds of you making in the NFL, I did some research. It's not easy. There are 971,000 high school football players in the United States. Of these 971,000, only 65,000 will go on to play college. 6,000 will be scouted. 300 will make an NFL roster. And 140 will play 4 years in the NFL. Now, that's not to say it's not possible. And we have certainly had students in Wayne Township that have gone on to play in the WNBA, the NBA, the NFL, and very, very successful careers. It does take a lot of work, and you need to realize if you're going to do that, you've got to be better than everybody else, and you've got to work harder. So how are you going to use this class? Well, recent studies have indicated that students your age are going to change careers 10 times in their lives. No longer are we going to have lives that you get into one career and you stay in that career for your entire life. The technology is changing far too fast for this. And of those 10 careers that you're going to get, 7 of them haven't even been invented yet or created. So how do I train you for a job that hasn't been created yet? Most students your age will not go into the career they currently plan for. So whatever you think you might be now, that can very well change as you get a little older. Or maybe you don't even have an idea now. Doesn't mean you're not going to find the right career. And a majority of Wayne Township freshmen will not graduate from college. We only have something like 52% go to college, and of those 52%, not everybody graduates. Doesn't mean they're failures. Doesn't mean they can't have good lives. It just means they have to find something else that they're interested in. And that's one of the things we want to do in this class. So how do I prepare you for a job that neither you nor I know what it's going to be? Well, we're going to try to teach you skills that you can use no matter what. And we're going to try to teach you skills that are flexible. One of the things that appears to be happening pretty quickly here is that they're going to have a requirement that every student has to take at least one online class in high school before they graduate. So right now, hopefully you're taking a class that's going to help you in high school to meet some of the requirements. This class is going to require that you read and follow directions. And I'm going to be a resource or an advisor. So again, once you get out into the real world or go into college or whatever it is, you're going to have more and more expectations on you to do more things. And the college professor or the teacher is going to be more of a resource. And we're going to try to use what previous knowledge you already have to create new knowledge. And you're going to find in life that the more basic knowledge you have opens up a whole world of new things as you go along. And one of the big things we're going to do in this class is solve problems. I'm going to give you a problem. You're going to figure out with the help of your classmates, how am I going to solve that problem? And hopefully you're going to achieve a task with the skills that you have or that you learn. If you notice so far, I haven't said anything about passing tests or learning math or learning English or learning science or learning technology. We're going to do a little bit of everything. As I said before, learning never ends. You're going to continue to learn all of your life. Some learning is easy, some is hard, and unfortunately you're going to find a lot of it's expensive. Not just in paying for classes to take classes, but making mistakes in life that end up costing you financially. And again, we mentioned soon there's going to be a requirement of an online class to graduate from high school. I get asked, does this class count? Yes, it does count. Tech Ed counts as an elective requirement. To graduate from high school, you're required to have 2 technology electives. Now that could possibly be in a computer class, a technology education class, some of the business classes that focus on computers. Any of those would be acceptable to get your credit in those 2 technology electives. And then again, we made mention that soon we think there's going to be an online requirement, and that could possibly be 1 or 2 classes. You need to realize that this is a semester-long class, and while it might not take quite an entire semester, it's going to be pretty close. And the grades do not reset at 9 weeks. And these classes will go into your accumulated GPA or grade point average. So doing well will help you out. And as we go through the class, I always like to offer extra credit. So as we go from project to project, sometimes there will be extra credit that you can do within that project, or maybe some extra credit that you can do outside of that project. But I always feel that if you're willing to do a little extra work, you should be able to get a little bit better grade. Now, do I need to get a textbook for an online class, or are there online textbooks? And the answer is no. We're going to be a very activity-focused class. All of the information that you'll need out of the text, I've already condensed and am presenting to you in PowerPoint videos. So you don't have to worry about getting a book, accessing a book online, or anything else like that. I've pretty much got everything done online so that it should be right here for you. And we're going to do projects and activities most of the time. The important thing will be to keep up on your due dates. These are very important and they will affect your grade. Now, how does online differ from a regular classroom? Well, obviously you don't have to go every day. You don't have to be there early in the morning. You get to pick the hours that you want to work. If you like to get up early in the morning and you want to work in the morning and have the rest of the day off, you can do that. If you like to sleep in, work late at night, you can do that. So it's pretty flexible and whenever you want to work. However, don't plan on calling me in the middle of the night to help you with a problem that you just discovered. You also have to be motivated and organized, which are good traits to have throughout the rest of your life. You're going to have to learn how to differ between formal and informal writing. Informal writing is like you text to your friends. It's a wonderful tool, very useful, very effective, and most teenagers know how to read it and understand it. The older people struggle with it a little bit, but they're getting there. You have to be patient with them. Formal writing is what you need to do in all class activities, any homework, any reports, anything like that. You need to learn to use spell check, you need to learn to write formally, and you need to learn to jump back and forth between the two. This is something your parents and grandparents never had to learn to do. But because of the new technology we have in our world today, your generation is going to have to learn to do this. And if you're going to be successful, you have to learn to do it well. You're going to have to work and share your information and your knowledge with others. And again, this is something that's going to help you throughout your life. You're going to have to be involved in the class, just as you're going to have to be involved in your job, your family, your friends, whatever else you're going to do in your life. Now, hopefully we've given you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. There's not going to be a test over this presentation, but I do want to kind of explain things to you and let you know what to expect. I also promised to tell you a little bit about the vocational classes at Ben Davis High School. Some of the things that they offer at Ben Davis High School are listed right here. Auto service, that would be fixing car engines, transmissions, and things like that. Medical assistant would be in the medical field, hospitals, similar situations. Fire science is a fancy name for fire persons, and that can be both men and women, as can all of these. Emergency medical services, that would be your ambulance people. Law enforcement, police officers. Aviation flight and maintenance, where you would actually go down to the airport and take classes down there working with flight and maintenance of airplanes. Building trades, and at Ben Davis High School, they will build a new house each year from the ground up. So as you take that class, you're going to go out and work in the field on laying the foundation for a house, building the structure, putting everything in, plumbing, electrical, roofs, carpeting, flooring, tiling, everything that would help you to get a job in construction later on. Cadet teaching, if you're interested in going into the teaching area. Collision repair, this would be body works. You're working on the outside of the car. Damage to the body, learning how to paint, and that could even be decorative. Computer repairs, and obviously there's a great need for that. Cosmetology is the beauty school at the high school, and again, when you walk into the vocational area, it will be the first area to your left as you walk in the door, and that would be hair, facial, and all types of beauty areas. Culinary arts at Ben Davis High School, they have a fantastic restaurant, and as a matter of fact, the head chef there is one of my former students who's come back into Wayne Township to teach that course at the high school. You can actually go in there and have dinner if you like, or lunch when you're taking classes there. Electronics, which is another really big area. Engineering, and we do have Project Lead the Way at the high school, and we're starting to get that at the middle school and the 9th grade center if you're interested in going into engineering. Heating and air conditioning, of which there's a great demand of young people going into it. Landscape management would be similar to the picture at the right, planning and designing and laying out something to look like that. Machine tool and die. Marketing co-op. Printing, they actually do all the printing for Wayne Township up at the high school. Radio and television broadcasting. Christy Lee from Q95 is a former Ben Davis student. Dave Calabral, the sports guy on Channel 13, is a former Ben Davis student. And Kevin Gregory, the weatherman on one channel, is a former Ben Davis student. Semi-truck driving, learning to drive the big rigs. Web page design, all of the web pages for Wayne Township are designed by the students at the high school. Dental assisting, dental work. There's really no way you can use. Ben Davis offers a fantastic system up there to go into any area that you're interested in. And again, Ben Davis is going to prepare you for college. They're going to prepare you for vocational school. They're going to prepare you for whatever direction that you want to go. So I hope with this video we were able to give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect, not only from this online class that you're going to be taking with me, but also from what Ben Davis High School and Wayne Township has to offer for possible educational opportunities.